Today, we are diving into a topic that every endurance athlete and honestly every human being cares about: longevity. Not just living longer, but living better. It is about health span, not just lifespan. I'm here with my co host Adele and Crystal, and together we will break down what the science says about living well into our later decades, maintaining physical capacity, staying mentally sharp, and building a life that gets richer, not smaller with age. We're
That's
bringing in ideas from leading experts like Peter Attia, Dr. Mark Hyman, and Dr. Gabrielle Lyons, and also Dr. Jason Fung, and
mhm.
connecting them directly to the lifestyle of runners, triathletes, and everyone who trains for a strong, meaningful life. This episode is about the real formula of longevity, movement, muscle, nutrition, and relationships, and how training for endurance sports is actually training for life.
Mm. You are so
Welcome.
right. So right.
Okay, well, let's get started with what does it mean to you? What does longevity mean to you? You want to get us started, Adele?
Oh, I'd love to. I really would. And I know that just for all of our listeners, I'm the oldest in this little triangle right here. So I got a lot of reasons to believe in longevity. Three of the biggest things that I truly hold on to when it comes to longevity is one, as y'all know, y'all have met me long enough now. I live a really clean, healthy lifestyle, very active, and the history behind that, right? But the beauty of what I feel me is longevity. It's the three different parts of the package for me. One, living well, living long, obviously, but also living very happy. And happy doesn't always mean that every day's rainbows and sunshine and stars in the sky. Happy means that I'm capable of starting each day with a fresh heart, a fresh mind, and the ability to be grateful that I have another day. So that's part of it for me. But also too is taking care of myself so that I can get beyond what is the normal age expectancy for me, which my age expectancy is double where I am now, and I'm gonna be 68 in a month. So longevity to me means taking care of myself, which includes exercising and eating well, but also my incredibly close relationships with my family, friends, and those around me keep me going every day with that a renewed spirit that I can make that connection every day. That to me is going to bring me into many, many more years of happiness, joy, and running around with my two colleagues right here. So that's what it means to me.
Can you tell us specifically what kind of exercise and what do you do with your relationships that makes
Hmm.
this happen?
So let's start with exercise because that's really simple. Y'all know that I've been an endurance athlete for years, champion tennis player, you name it, I've done it. But now at this stage, I'm on the bike a lot. I cycled 20 yesterday. I swam 2 miles this morning, and I'm going to be out run walking tomorrow, probably 6 or 7 miles. But also the strength training and the weight training. So that's part of the exercise. What happens with the strength and the weight training is when I go get a checkup with doctor during the year and they say, oh, let's check your bone density, mine's off the charts. Why? Because I'm doing things that impact healthy bone and skeletal structure, but also my nutrition supplements that as well. So that's on the tangibles, exercise and nutrition. The relationship part, and not every relationship is going to be happy, successful, and connected, but the relationship part is those key relationships, my children, my significant others, as far as a partner relationship, grandchildren, an extremely tight knit group of friends. My whole goal each day is to make a connection with at least one other person. I usually do more than that, but at least one other person. That connection, you never know what effect it has on that individual receiving the message or receiving the connection, whatever it might be. But what effect it has on me is that I've kept them in my heart. There are a lot of scientific studies, and I'll say this for a fact because I've read up on a lot of things because it's really important to know people that have relationships of any sort that are significant, be it a partner or a child, sibling, a parent, if you still have them with you. But relationships are almost number one when it comes to longevity. The three pieces of longevity are going to be your movement and exercise, good healthy nutrition, what you put in your body and feed your brain, but also the significance of the relationships. And that is key because more people who are not connected, even if it's to one person, the loneliness and the aloneness tend to shorten the lifespan. And I'm going to go for the gusto, y'all. So I'm keeping everybody connected in my life. But it truly does make me happy. It truly makes me, the rewards of that are just priceless.
Do you
Priceless.
do some of those simultaneously? Like, can you work out with the people that you have a good relationship
All
with?
the time. All the time. I got my little running buddies. I got my grandson that works out with me. My kids have been running with me for years. Just yeah, and like Larry goes to cycle with me. He'll walk with me because he can't really run. But everybody, almost everybody that's based in my life that I see regularly during the week, we're walking or doing something together, right? And a lot of that is exercise based. I'm cycling with two or three friends at a time. I'm usually swimming alone because I'm not talking to anybody, but I usually connect with friends and we go at the same time 2 or 3 times a week. So yes, that is key because it's my interest base. I'm going to connect with people that I have the interest with. And
Absolutely.
I'll give you an example. I know you and Crystal have been doing the training programs to get her ready for her Ironman, but also the people that y'all have connected with have allowed y'all to make a lot of progress in things y'all are both doing professionally. The other part of that is you never know what that person might do for you when you come back to them and they say, "Hey, how'd you do in your race?" Or "It was great to see you at the pool. Haven't seen you in a while." "Oh, Crystal, I've been wanting to talk to you about some marketing information, some nutrition information." You never know where those connections might lead. But the biggest part of that is that you're actually putting yourself out there and you're becoming vulnerable and
Yeah,
you're saying hello to somebody. So getting into the exercise mode is that's your interest base and that's going to be the people you want to connect with the most besides family that might have different interests but they are family and there's a lot to connect with on that one too, so it's key, very much key.
all right. How about you, Crystal? What can you give us your definition of longevity and some of the things that you do to stay healthy and live a happier life?
Yeah, absolutely, Coach Victor. I put down two things when I heard that this was the question that you were going to ask. And I think that connection is really awesome, what
Mhm.
Adele was saying. But when I think of longevity, I think of two words. I think of energy and
Mm,
communication.
mhm,
Energy starting from when we think about longevity, it's the energy from the person and the body, the mind and the soul. So energy from within who you are, because all we are is a transference of energy as spirits,
mhm,
as human beings. And I think that communication is so important because when you think about longevity, you do think about nutrition and fitness, right? And connection. That's what I wrote down. I wrote nutrition, fitness, connection. But at the beginning of it, you start with the energy and the communication because we need to understand ourselves. We need to understand that that energy that's coming from without us and within us is going to be either positive or negative. And we need to make sure that the connection that we do have is going to be perfect, or not perfect, but more of not toxic. Like the people that we're
mm,
giving our energy to are high quality individuals because people will take your energy, right?
mhm, right.
So I think that it's what longevity means to me is having a strong core of connection with yourself first, so you can pour that into others. And what longevity also means is, I studied nutrition. I am a certified nutritional wellness coach, and I believe that 99% of disease starts in the gut. And so nutrition is so incredibly important, especially with my diagnosis of my lipedema and lymphedema.
Mhm,
But even if I didn't have those conditions, what we're putting in our body, connection and communication is a signal to our body what to do with it. So if we're putting things in our body that are not necessarily healthy, our bodies are going to react appropriately to what we put in it, right?
mhm, mhm,
So Victor and I had the opportunity to listen to Dr. Jason Fung this weekend, who wrote the Obesity Code, and he talks a lot about hormones and food being a connection with our body. fitness as well too. So movement is a big deal. So nutrition, movement, connection. But I think that the communication that we have from our energy going out and coming in, and making sure that the people that we are surrounding ourselves with charge us and don't drain us, is the key to longevity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, ma'am.
And if
Yes,
they
ma'am.
drain you, you need to unplug.
I like it. I like
That's
it.
What about
awesome.
you, Coach
Awesome.
Victor?
Yeah, Victor.
Okay, my favorite quote lately was, I heard it not too long ago. I don't know who said it, but it said we shouldn't try to add years to our lives. We should try to add
Mhm,
life
mhm,
to our
mhm,
years.
mhm,
And I'm like,
mhm.
oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yes,
Um,
yes,
I
yes,
love
yes.
that. And I just agree with everything that you both have said about relationships, staying active. And if we dive a little bit into some of the doctors, like Dr. Peter Attia, who I've been listening
Mhm,
to quite a bit of his podcast. And the thing that stood out to me that he was saying was that the number one cause of mortality was people falling,
mhm,
older people taking a fall, and they're not like really drastic falls. It could be just falling from like a curve, which my dad took one. My grandma broke her hip falling from a stool that she tried to stand up and broke her hip, and it was
mhm.
pretty much downhill from there. Because what
Yeah,
happens is they
yeah.
break a hip at in their 70s and they're bedridden, and that takes away all of the things that you're talking about, the quality of life, the being able for them to take care of themselves, and then mobility. They can't move for a long period where they just don't come back the same. Mm.
Right.
And his theory is that we should try to be strong with strong muscle, strong bone density at that age, so that we have really good balance and we don't take these falls, because some of that is weakness in the muscles. Sometimes it's
Mhm.
lack of equilibrium, of balance, and a lot of older people tend to fall very easily because they lack of that.
And I think the balance changes as you do age. You tend to be, you get a little bit out of whack, as we say down south. I'm a little bit out of whack. But if you do things to help that, to help combat the major loss of that ability, it's kind of like losing your physical ability to do something you've done for 30 or 40, 50 years. You just modify it a little bit. So if you're out there walking and you know that you're going to be on uneven ground, make sure you have something with you that you can hold on to so that you don't fall. That's just preparation. But you're very, very correct in saying that a brittle bone as we age, they're not going to heal. So the falling is what leads to things that happen in a hospital or a clinic setting. Other things come in. You get the diseases in the lungs, you get the breathing, affectations that you can possibly get from just about anything that happens in an environment like that. And it's a decline. So that's one great point that you made. And of course, that can be combated with just a little bit more of a healthy daily activity, a little bit of movement, a little bit of nutrition, and the weight training helps the bones
Yeah,
stay strong. Yeah.
absolutely. My goal is to that at 100 years old, if I get to that age, that I'm still be able to be independent.
Hmm.
Some of the things that Dr. Peter Attia mentions, as being
Yeah.
able to put your luggage on the top rack without having to need help, uh, being able to play with your grandchildren.
Hmm.
There's no reason why we shouldn't be able to do that when we get older, if we take care of, if we stay strong, we build the muscle, we build the bone density, we stay flexible. That's a good thing to aim for.
Hmm.
Um,
One of his quotes, if you don't mind me saying, one of his quotes in an interview he gave, the best drug is exercise. I mean, that's directly from him. The best drug is exercise. And that pretty much encompasses everything we do in life. And exercise could be walking around your house one day when it's snowing or training for an Ironman like y'all are doing.
yeah. I used to talk a lot about the happy chemicals when I run, and to me, that's also like a
Mhm.
pharmacy of happy
Right.
chemical cocktails that are free,
Yeah.
and they're the strongest ones.
Yeah, that's a great point. I love that because it's the dopamine that keeps us all energized and happy, right?
That's right.
Dopamine, isn't that the one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
think,
I go.
Norepinephrine
yeah.
is, yeah, norepinephrine is
Yeah,
actually released as well too. That is a good
yeah.
one. That's like, when you're running.
Yeah, yeah, and it keeps you going. Hey, I got a question. I got a question for you, and I do want to make a comment on Dr. Attia, and I know you've read a lot of his stuff and listened to a lot of his stuff. One of the key things that he says also is VO2 max, which is your oxygen velocity. I don't know if you've heard his concept on that. Have you, Victor? His concept on the
Yes.
VO2
Yeah.
max? Okay.
Yes, I
And
have.
I kind of I like the way he put it, and this is for pretty much anybody. It doesn't have to be, an Ironman athlete training for their next 10th Ironman, or someone just going out to walk around with a stroller person, their grandchild. What your oxygen capacity indicates is pretty much the measurement, and these are his words, if you don't mind me using them. The measurement of the size of our engine, someone's engine, and that's our heart, our lungs, our muscles, and what capacity we have to generate the power we need to move the engine. It's like putting gas in your car. So you want to keep sure that you keep everything working efficiently. And if your heart, lungs, muscles, and everything about you continues working efficiently because you're putting the right things in your body, you're getting a little bit of exercise, and you're maintaining those relationships. If you do those three things, you got a lot of opportunity to watch that grandchild have grandchildren and continue on the generations of doing something as simple as walking the stroller, with the baby. So I love that. I love that idea because as athletes, and I know you two know this, one of the major measurements that coaches and trainers and people in the physical fitness arena do is measure VO2 maximum oxygen. I used to do it all the time when I was running marathons. I'd see what my capacity was, and I would tweak the different things that I might be taking to help me open up the capillaries and the blood vessels to get the maximum amount of oxygen I need to complete that 26.2-mile race efficiently and injury free. I thought it was a good concept that he brought up, and that's based on the science part of his longevity studies. But it's key. It's really key. Keeps everything working efficiently, and I
Yeah.
love that. The exercise is the best drug.
Yes. And I would love to be active. Like again, I would love to be say do the things that you just mentioned when
Mhm.
I'm 100. But if I want to be honest, I would love to have sex at 100. I don't know about what do you
I'm there. Call me. Call us
right?
both.
Yeah.
we might we might need to hold each other up. Oh,
Well, I don't know about each
sideline,
other. But I
sideline.
know what you
But you're right. Because what is that type of activity and energy do for somebody? And it's not just
yeah.
physical, y'all. It's not just physical. Why don't you explain why you said that, Victor? I'd love to hear it.
Well, I heard it from somebody else. They're the same thing. What would you want? What things would you love to do at 100? And I think the way my brain works is like, well, yes, I would love to have sex at
Mm,
100, be able to do that, have the
right.
capacity. And yeah, uh, if somebody else is close to that age and wants to join me in that, more power to them. It's motivation and inspiring.
Right, right. Well, I think too, and Crystal, jump in whenever you can because we're giving our viewers and our listeners the female point of view on this one. And I'm doing this intentionally because when you think about it, as we age, that is one of the bodily functions that tends to become a little less um efficient. I'm going to use that word and effective. But y'all, I'm gonna be very, very transparent here. I am living proof that you don't lose it. Okay, you do not lose that ability if you have a partner that you want to be physically intimate with. That's going to be the beginning of it. Okay, you have to feel the desire inside of you first, and the desire to share that part of your life and that part of you with someone.
Yeah.
Not everybody's going to have that, but the beauty of having that first means you're taking care of yourself to share a relationship in that fashion. So all of that ties in together. If you physically take care of yourself and maintain, your desire, we could all be doing it at 100, and I'm going to get there before you, so I'll come back and tell you.
And here's a big one that I think I was talking to Crystal earlier because they were, and I think it might have been Dr. Lyons who
It was, yeah,
said
it was, yeah.
something that might motivate men because I was motivated by that. But she said it's one of the penis is one of those muscles that use it or lose it, that you actually decrease the size of your penis if you don't use it.
Right,
So it's
right.
like,
So,
yeah.
okay, I'm gonna chime in here
Jump
because
in.
interesting conversation, Victor. Because I have two thoughts here as I'm smiling here. I'm in my late 40s and enjoying that conversation. Two things. So my undergraduate is at Portland State University, and one of my I loved this, you guys. My senior capstone, what I had to do for my senior capstone was volunteer at a retirement facility. And so I have to tell you right now, that's all they were doing was humping. And there was breakouts of sexually transmitted things because these older people were just going to each other and humping each other. And yes, it is possible. Okay.
Yes.
However it shall be, it is not impossible to hump at 100. So Victor, you have a lot of luck there and joy.
A lot of hope. A lot of hope.
Adele, as more power to the humping at 90 and 100. Okay, so Adele and Victor, I'll share this with you too, as you were talking, Adele. So as a female, I think that a lot of women, especially, they go through menopause, they go through hormonal changes, they go through maybe vaginal changes and stuff like that, and they lose their appeal. But if they're willing to work on it, and that is something that we have to talk about, because I have had a lot of women come to me and they discuss menopause and hormones and their sex life being minimal. But what they don't do is they don't address their nutrition. And when they're not eating the proper foods and their hormones are out of whack, because all hormones are all nutrition is this hormonal response, it can cause your libido to decrease. And so I know as a woman with me, I like affection. I like to be loved on. And I think that the older that we get, we have to recognize that affection with other people and ensure that our partner knows that you love them, you care about them. And it's a constant working relationship. You're never going to wake up one day and assume she knows I love her. You're going to make sure that you work at that. And so I do believe in the power of relationships till I'm dead, baby, till I'm dead.
I love that I love, Victor, that you initiated this part of the conversation, because it's a true part of longevity. Because what did you just say, Vic? Crystal, you just hit on the big three. One, the connection, but also not taking for granted that someone knows how you feel about them. Two, taking care of your body, especially as a woman who goes through menopause and things change because of that. Eating right, taking care of yourself, getting a little exercise, making sure your bone and everything else is in good shape. But also the cardiovascular benefits of good sex is you just can't even compare it to anything else. I don't care how many calories you burn. I don't care how fast your heart rate goes. But y'all, just being engaged in that activity hits those big three pieces of the longevity factor, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not sure
And
if y'all know
the energy too that you brought up.
Dan Buettner. You guys know who Dan Buettner is? He's
I know who
phenomenal.
he
He
is. Yes, I know
studies
who
the
he
blue
is.
zones. And so he studies the areas of the world that have the longest longevity, right? And he goes there and he sees what they eat and how they live. And one of the biggest things that he talks about is that they have that connection, right? And so I think that when we get, you hit on it earlier today, Adele, when you were talking about when you start to isolate and get lonely, you die of a broken heart of being lonely. The people that live the happiest, healthiest, longest lives had connection with people. And that includes, sexual relationships with your significant other or your spouse, or even, even with yourself. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, making sure that you have that pleasure, because there's so many positive things that come from that, that just mindset of intimacy. And it's happy, you become happy. It's a pleasurable thing.
Well, and that's it. The results of an intimate interaction, regardless of the intensity of it, you do come away from that joyful and happy. Your body is also joyful and happy, not just your heart, not just your emotions. But that's a great point that Crystal made, y'all. Dr. Hyman calls it the Roseto Effect, which was a community in Pennsylvania years ago. They weren't necessarily healthy. They were big eaters, big drinkers, but they were Italian families that generationally lived together. They rarely died of massive heart disease issues, right? Because they had connections and they were not healthy people. But communities near them were dying at much higher rates of heart disease because they were isolating themselves. They weren't connecting with family, friends, or really the community. I think it's Japan. I think that the person you just mentioned died picked looked at Japan. Was it Okinawa? Was one of the
It's in
places he went?
Okinawa. Yeah, it is
I want to say
absolutely where the
Okinawa.
bombing was. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, especially the women there. The women live extremely long in that community. And think about it, y'all. That particular culture is very much based on providing for the family connection. A lot of times it's generational. Children don't always leave. They marry within their community. They rebuild their lives as they've gone to become educated. They bring their knowledge and their expertise back to that community. And that's why most of those communities live less stressful health issues and longer lives and happier lives. And that, yeah, we need to put the his notes in the his link in the notes as well with these other people we're mentioning because he's got some great studies, Crystal, on
Yeah, he
some
does,
different
and they
communities. Yeah.
all of the communities too. The exercise is a big
Mm-hmm.
deal. In Japan, the reason they sit on the floor is so they have to get down and up, down and up,
Mm-hmm.
down and up. Right? In Italy,
Mm-hmm.
there's places in Italy where they have to walk up and down
Mm-hmm.
the hill, up and down the hill to the grocery store and back. I mean, it's the communities in which we don't make it easily accessible to get
Right.
around that live the longest because you're
Right.
taking public transportation, you're walking, you're riding your bike, you're
Right.
moving. Our movement is so incredibly important to us when it comes to longevity,
Right.
that those blue zones or those areas of longevity and health in the world are going to be those areas that, another thing with their diet, they don't eat a significant amount of animal protein either.
Mm-hmm.
They do, some of them do eat the animal protein, but they eat a lot of vegetables, they eat a lot of
Right.
fruit, and a lot of whole foods. I
Right.
think Japan was the purple yam, I think is one of
I think
them
it
that.
is. Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. So
Yeah.
you think about that too. So I studied that in depth with my nutritional degree and my interest in general.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fascinating. I'd love to even dive in deeper into that too.
We're gonna do, and that's a great point. Why don't we're gonna set an episode for y'all because there's some things that I was acquainted with just recently. Purple yams I've known about for a long time, but some of the things that you would least expect provide so much nutrients to you that they really do almost eliminate your opportunities to have these horrible terminal disease diagnoses. And if you do have, let's say you have cancer, if you're starting to eat right, you're starting to eliminate the necessity to get the treatments and do all this because your body is now reacting to good nutrition. So that's we're going to do that in the future. That's a great
Okay.
point. I love that. I love that. I love that.
Absolutely.
So
And
I did. So Victor, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Victor. I interrupted you. Go ahead,
oh, go
sweetie.
ahead.
I was going to ask you if you had any other factors of the longevity issue, like the protein intake that we all hear about, to help with brain health as well, to combat dementia, Alzheimer's, those types of things. Any other factors that you wanted to bring up? I know that's one I wanted to hit on a little bit later, like we did with the menopause.
Yeah, I think definitely protein is in my realm of coaching as a recovery to get the proper amount of protein after, especially after a workout,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
facilitate the recovery. And with that, I wanted to ask Crystal to mention because she's doing quite a bit of
mm-hmm.
cooking webinars.
Right.
And Crystal, can you tell us? Because I know you have one coming up this Sunday, and she's going to be doing food preps. She's been doing that for quite some times, but this time she's doing it in a webinar. Tell us a little bit about that, Crystal.
Yes, yes,
Oh
yes.
yeah, absolutely. And I wanted to kind of piggyback off of the protein question. So
Mm-hmm,
that's something that people really need to take a look at because
mm-hmm,
there is protein is really hard for your body to digest depending upon what kind of protein that you eat. And it's not the protein or the animal that you need to eat. It's the essential amino acids within it that your body needs.
Right.
So, and research studies have shown that too much protein in the body your body can't digest it, and it can cause things like colon cancer. So making sure that you don't overconsume it. Like Victor was saying, after a workout, it's great to have protein because it repairs the muscle. But I do think that I own a marketing company. I think you know that, Adele. I think that the word protein has gotten a really like marketing term to it, just like low fat, low carb. So we have to pay attention to that too, because it can have the adverse effect on our bodies. And if our body is getting too much protein and it's not actually able to process it and eliminate it, it can back up in the cells. And Dr. Fung talks about this. It can back up into the cells and actually can turn into cancer. So keeping that in mind as well too, because I think that a lot of people preach protein, protein, protein. They're not preaching essential amino acids in which are in the protein and which your body actually needs. So
that is a, go ahead.
That's my 2 cents on the protein.
Right.
Honestly.
Well, and I want to piggyback on that if you don't mind, and then I want Crystal to talk a little bit about the webinar that she's got coming up. The protein issue has been blown up, and we all know that. But we're endurance athletes, and most of the people listening to us know that they need the protein for muscle recovery, muscle strength. But y'all keep in mind, when you've gone out and done your brick on a weekend, and you are just spent after several hours in training. Watch what you eat, how quickly you eat it, and how much recovery and rest you're giving your body, because your metabolism is still working at a fairly quick level for those first couple hours after. Remember to watch your protein, just like Crystal's talking. For our non-athletes or non-endurance athletes that are listening in, which we have family and friends that are doing that, they might be walkers, they might take good care of themselves, and they watch your diet. The over intake of protein, and I've done it myself, not realizing it, the body does react to too much of anything. It also reacts to too little of things. So you want to have that healthy balance that takes us a little while to find. And I think it's something we'll explore as we get a little further into nutrition on another episode. We're going to let Crystal talk to us a little bit more about some of the things that we do need, but not to overdo it when we take them in. Great point, my friend. Great point.
Oh, thank you so much. I like to address that too, because, I follow a lot of influencers on social media, and it seems like, they give blind recommendations, especially on how much quantities of protein or grams of protein to eat, but they don't understand the individual's goal, and they don't understand the individual's body weight, and they don't understand a lot of different things that protein can do in excess. So thank you for saying that. So I, about a few months ago, actually a few years ago, I realized that there was a real need in the community to teach people and to help people learn how to eat healthy and pair their foods properly. So back in 2020, before COVID hit, I started a meal service delivery company called Healthy Human Express. And it was all grass-fed, organic, no sugar, no refined sugars, no flour, no artificial flavors, perfectly portioned meal service delivery company. And it went really incredibly well until COVID happened, of course. And then the packaging just skyrocketed, and that business didn't make it out of COVID, but the concept did. And now I do online coaching for not just nutritional advice and things like sugar, grains, artificial flavors, cellular level fat, adipose tissue disorders. I do live meal prepping seminars, and it is meal prep in under an hour. And this food is absolutely spectacular. Like I was saying, it's no sugar, refined sugar, no flour. And the reason we don't do those is because they're white powders. Sugar is addictive. When our body eats sugar and flour, it blocks leptin receptors that send the signal to the brain that we're full. So we end up overeating them. So we keep those out of our nutritional plan. And also artificial flavors can do the same thing too. And they can build up in our cells and cause disease. And so the grass-fed and organic grass fed, because we want to understand, like we were talking about at the beginning of the podcast, longevity. Food is energy. And so think about the way that your food was raised. If your food was raised in a human manner or without pesticides, organic is really important because that energy is going to transfer onto us. So the way that food was raised is going to transfer onto us as energy. So I used organic or grass fed because I knew that my food was treated properly. And what I do is, I send out a list to the people who register on what we're going to be making this week on Sunday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're going to make some overnight oats. We're going to make some mushroom and asparagus risotto, and it's made with cauliflower rice. Absolutely delicious. That's gluten-free, and it's also it's gluten-free and dairy-free because it's made with non-dairy products. And then we're going to make some cauliflower fried rice. I'm going to pair mine with shrimp. But we're also going to do some shredded chicken that has been marinated in this absolutely beautiful, like almost like a Mexican broth. And we're going to put that with some fajitas. So the fajita bowl is incredible. So I'll tell you what is on the fajita bowl. So it's got that shredded chicken that you just cook in the crock pot for 6 hours. It's nice and beautiful and moist. And you're going to actually pair that with a couple of ounces of black beans, some cauliflower rice, some peppers, bell peppers, some onions and mushrooms. Take a little bit of a drizzle of that olive oil on top. This meal is outstanding.
Oh my gosh.
What you have in here is 4 to 6 ounces of your protein. I say 4 ounces as a woman or 6 as a man. If you're trying to lose weight, you can up that protein if you're just trying to maintain your weight. You've got your vegetables at 12 to 14 ounces there. And so that's your carbohydrates and your vegetables and your good, healthy, food intake. And then you've got your fat, which is the olive oil. The olive oil is going to help all of that food marry itself together and digest through your body. And it keeps you full. It tastes absolutely phenomenal. And you don't even miss the high carbohydrate part of that, which is because it's very low carb too. So we're going to do that. And that's going to take us under an hour to prepare all that. It is easy. It's super, super simple. I think each one of those like dishes, the mushroom asparagus risotto, the chicken fried rice, and the peppers, besides for the chicken that cooks for 6 hours by itself, in a crock pot, it's going to take me 45 minutes to put all that stuff together.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I post the meal so you can cook along with me, which I love and I encourage. But on those live webinars, I talk about nutrition. I'm going to talk about the ingredients in the food. I'm going to talk about the reason why we do certain things, how our bodies digest the food, why the protein is paired with the fat, and the portion sizes as well too.
Y'all gotta get on. If I am going to the theater now, y'all remember I'm Louisiana, so I'm 2 hours ahead of Crystal. So at 6 o'clock Sunday, I'm gonna be going to see A Beautiful Noise, which is the Neil Diamond Broadway production, and my favorite of all time. But other than that, I'd be cooking that. God bless me. And also eating it at the same time. So I'm gonna jump on another time with Crystal. That just amazing stuff coming up with that. I can't wait to maybe see a replay or at least watch something that you might record for it. Because I would do. I would cook that. I would cook that stuff.
Yeah.
Because I would eat that
and
stuff.
the cool thing is like the main meals, they're easily freezable. And then the overnight oats and stuff like that. The goal is really just to prepare the things that are quick to grab and go, especially being so busy. And when you have your food, the food noise goes away. When you know what you're going to eat, you're not craving certain things. You're not grabbing certain things. You're not stopping at fast food restaurants and grabbing something because you're prepared. And people always say they don't have time to work out or they don't have time to eat healthy because they're so busy. I say I have time to work out and I have time to work because I eat healthy and I food prep. So do the first things first, which is schedule your workouts for the week, schedule your business for the week after that, and make sure that you schedule your food prep, on your Sundays, and get to the grocery store because food is love and you've got to cook at home.
Right. And look, and love leads us back to our original topic of longevity because we're eating right, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. So I got a question. Is Victor, since y'all are in the same town and y'all have things going on together, that business and personally, is he going to be the taste tester?
Oh yes, he loves my
Okay.
food.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
so
don't
I've
want to
already
leave him
made him.
out.
Yeah. So I made Victor a dish. It was a. Are you ready for this? It was a. This is was absolutely delicious. I think he
Okay.
really liked it. It was halibut and it was stuffed with crab, and then
Oh.
it was served with shrimp and asparagus. It was out of this world.
Oh.
I think Victor liked it. Did you like it, Victor?
I loved it. Yes. You gotta
He's
Oh
also
my
tried
gosh.
he's tried some Greek yogurt parfaits. I've made him some
Okay.
breakfast. And then the jambalaya he's tried. So yeah, he's the taste tester.
Yeah, and
yeah,
see, jambalaya is a southern dish, so there's a
Yes,
certain way to
ma'am.
cook it. There's a
Yes,
very certain
ma'am.
way to cook it healthy. Because cauliflower rice, if you need rice, is probably the way to go. I know
Yeah.
jasmine rice is another good rice, but cauliflower rice in a big meal is always, I think, a lot healthier because it's more organic. All right, you got to fill me in on all that.
Yeah, and brown rice is better than white rice, and
Right,
especially like for somebody like myself, I have lymphedema, so white rice holds on to fluid retention. The
right.
reason why we try to do a little bit of a lower carbohydrate is just because hydrate, right? It hydrates your cells, it pulls it in. You want healthy carbohydrates, you want enough of them because especially as endurance athletes,
Right.
we got to make sure that we keep our energy up. But once again, not overdoing it, depending upon your goal, right? Adele, we got to
Right.
ask these people their
Right.
goal, right?
Right. Well, and that was one other thing that I wanted to kind of get to our closing point because I know Victor's sitting over there like we could go on forever. Y'all just bear with Crystal and I. We have so much passion for the things we do. Victor is allowing us to express ourselves a lot today on passions that we have individually as we've listened to him talk about the coaching and really helping people transform lives and achieve their goals. So I don't want to leave him out of this, but I do want to mention just one other quick thing. And I think if we're getting close to closing down, Victor, correct me if I'm wrong,
yeah.
but everybody has to have that why that Crystal just mentioned to do the things to take care of ourselves, to be the best Deli, the best Crystal, the best Victor that we can be for those we love, right? For
Absolutely
those
right.
moments of intimacy, for those moments of experiences with our families. Like when Victor, before he fell off the bike, or right after he fell off the bike, he was going to a water park to celebrate his birthday with his family. He still did that. It was important to do it. That was his why, despite the injury. Crystal, look at Crystal. She's training for an Ironman. Look what, if you know her story, look what she went through. There's a why deep down inside of her that y'all have heard her express. I know what mine is. I know what mine is. I'm here because I survived. And I know my why is to give another 68 years. I'm going to be 28 years cancer free in less than a month, with a small bit of cancer last year. And I'm going on a year clean from that. But the beauty of it is that I am here. I'm here today with my good friends. I had my grandchild this morning. I'm going to see my grandsons tomorrow. These are my whys. I know it sounds cliche, but that's my why. And to share with y'all. That's the second part of it. So I'm going to turn it over to my beautiful friends, Crystal and Victor. How about your whys?
Absolutely. My why is, of course, I already mentioned one of those. I want to be able to have sex at 100. I want to be able to help others reach those goals as well of longevity, of living a happy life, of adding quality to their lives. And with my help of my co-hosts here, Adele and Crystal, we can offer them those
Mm,
things. You guys are experts in nutrition. Crystal has great knowledge on not just nutrition, but now with the training and
mhm,
with intermittent fasting, all these other things that we'll probably keep covering on our next
mm.
episode because there's just so much to cover when it comes to our health. But yes, that is my why. I want to reach as many people, at least 1 million people that I can help
Yeah,
transform their lives.
I like that. I like
Yeah.
that a lot. Crystal, go. You got to do it, girl. You got to
All
tell us your
right, here
why
we go.
one more time.
So my why is that we have been over inundated with false information for years.
Hmm.
And I'm a prime example of the false information that I followed for many, many years that left me morbidly obese and almost immobile. And we are fighting that. I think that we're fighting that because, especially with the birth of the internet, so many people can just get on there and say something or share an experience and put it out there and then expect people to follow it. And people do follow it. And then all of a sudden they're led down a path of worse health than they started with. And
Hmm.
so my why is to help people find the truth like I found the truth. and to, go back to the days and time where, people fasted and we didn't overwhelm our food with our bodies with food, and start talking about how everything we should be consuming and over consuming things based upon some person's business or marketing company or profit. So I kind of like to say that my why is to help people lead themselves down the path of truth and help them understand that nutrition and health and fitness actually can be simple if you take out all the BS.
So, listeners, there you have it. You've got three
Yeah.
different concepts, three different perspectives of pretty much the same thing. We're
Yeah.
all here to have a long, happy, good life, healthy, intimate with those we care about and those we love so much, but also to live with joy. And I
Yeah.
think if you can take a piece of everything today from each one of us, you can get on another path and wake up tomorrow morning and take a little piece of what we shared with y'all today. And that leads to your longevity.
Absolutely. And before we leave,
Yes.
Crystal, where can people get a hold of you if they want to do the webinars or if they just want consultation? Because I know you have.
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. So I do run a Facebook group called Lady Lipedema. If you type it into the search bar on Facebook, you can find my story. You can find my meals. I post all of the updates there. If you want to send me an email, you can reach me at crystalizedconsulting.com. And that is my first name, Crystal, and then crystallized with just the one name, consulting.com. Or they can reach out to me on the phone, 509-205-2061, and send me a text message or something, and I can post links and stuff like that as well too in those groups.
All right. And I'll go ahead and put those links
Yeah.
in the show notes as well so you can find them and reach out. And Adele, you is still with your email?
Yeah, Ron_Daly at bellsouth.net, but also put my phone number in there too, because the direct messages and the text, I'm going to get it and be able to respond a little bit quicker, but definitely find it. And Crystal, I am going to promise that Crystal is going to help me do some marketing. So maybe we'll have some more links to get me. Hope so.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
We will do it. And that way we'll tie a lot of our things together down the road as well. So I'm excited about that. And Victor, of course, you got to let them know where to find you.
Yes, mine is right on the screen. It's eymcoaching.com.
Mhm.
And they can also, and I'll have the links on the bottom too as
Right,
well.
right,
For
right.
my
And
social.
y'all, one more thing. Don't forget, Victor's always mentions this, and I don't want to forget with these new topics that we've introduced today. If you have any questions, anything at all, put them in the show notes. Message Victor, message one of us. Let us help you get the answers you need, but the good answers, the best answers, and the unique answers for your particular unique situation, because everybody's different. You heard Crystal mention it. You heard Victor talk about it in all of his coaching techniques. Look at the person and the athlete, look at the person and their nutrition and their diet. And with me, look at what they need on the other parts of that to really develop their longevity. So keep us all intact on what you might need and let us know. We'll address it. We're always here for you. Right, guys?
That's right.
Right.
All right. All right. Victor, lead us away, Coach Victor. Lead us
Thank
away.
you. Thank you. Thank you, Adele. Thank you, Crystal. Thanks for our audience for listening. And until next week, stay triumphant.
See y'all soon. Stay in touch.